Oh, really? Even less than that, right? It
Yeah,
seems to me that, as I see, you mentioned the jet, but even that was fairly recent in my lifetime, anyway.
yeah,
But anyway, computers really, it seems to me, changed everything.
yeah. Cause who was it? Was it grandma's parents or yours that were doing like the tire business? Or like redoing
Oh, right, that was
tires?
Lee's father, was in the tire business. He had a store in Brooklyn.
I remember hearing like he had like bulldogs or something, like a
He had a what?
dog. He had like dogs that were like that would protect
Yeah,
the property.
yeah, because he was like he'd go out of the store or something. He didn't want anybody coming in and taking something, so he had a dog, yeah, which he didn't bring home, but because
Yeah.
his wife wouldn't have liked that. Lee's mother, my mother-in-law.
Yeah.
So
Oh, do you remember that time when we set up the projector at your old house in Nanuet, and we watched your films that you had from Korea?
well, I don't remember specifically, but I do remember showing things like I used to have like a road show because I know I went around to different houses and I
Yeah.
carried my projector. Yeah, we lived in New City, but
Oh yeah, New City. I'm sorry. Yeah,
yeah,
New
yeah.
City.
Any rate, so that was, and you remember that. I mean, I find that amazing because you're the only person who says anything like that.
Well, yeah, I just find that stuff so. It's interesting because it's experiences that you had which helped make you you, which no one would ever really
Yeah,
know
but
about. You
you're
know?
different, Corey, because you people have different interests. Your
Yeah.
brother is interested in food, and
Hmm.
stuff. But you have interest in the things you're telling me, which really is kind of interesting
Yeah.
to me.
But you still, of course, have all those, right?
Have a what?
All those old reels. You think?
Yeah, I don't know. In fact, it's down in my right in front of where the car is. There's
Yeah.
a closet there, like a storage.
Yeah.
So I don't know what kind of shape that's going to be, and if anybody ever really tried to look at that, or whether anybody's even interested in it, right?
Yeah.
It was 35 millimeter
Hmm.
slides, yeah.
But
And I
well,
used to find them fascinating because I mean, I went through that. It was my life.
yeah.
But I don't know that anybody else would be interested in
Was
it.
that in like the 1950, 50s?
51,
51.
52. Yeah, I was out of the United States for the whole year of 52. I wasn't in the.
Wow.
So I went in 51, October of 51, came out in May of 53.
Wow.
So just around the time Beth, your cousin Beth?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I visited her mother in the hospital around the time I came back from Korea. So she was born June or July, I think, 53, sometime at that time frame.
But they lived up here, right? They didn't always live in Florida.
But they lived in the Forest Hills,
Okay.
so which was in Queens. That's where they lived.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that Saul, her father, belonged to a country club, Delwood. You know Delwood in New City?
Yeah. I used to
think it
deliver
was
there.
a different name, by the way. Somebody just told me they
Oh.
changed it. Maybe they sold it. He used to go up from Queens, which is a bit of a trip. And he and his brother Murray, that's I don't know if you know Murray.
I'm not sure.
It's his brother. Anyway, and the two of them belong to this golf club in Delwood. And Delwood you've heard of.
Yeah.
In fact, I once went to a tennis just with your wife. With your wife.
Yeah. With
Sorry,
with
your mom.
Yeah.
One day on a Sunday, she and I went to a tennis.
Didn't you say there was like Pete Sampras or like who was there? Not Agassi. McEnroe.
Was Yeah, it was. I can't think of it. Some woman who was the number one there. I can't think of her name. She's a Russian.
Yeah.
Yeah, my memory is kind of. I've lost some. My memory is not that good. But you get older, you kind of lose something.
Yeah.
So I can't think of her name.
Oh, I remember when I was telling Susan I was coming over tonight, and then I was like, oh, tell me, like, do you remember any stories from when Grandpa was in Korea? She's like, did you know that Grandpa he had a girlfriend in Korea?
Who said that?
Susan.
Susan did that.
Yeah, but I remember you've told me that before. You told me that.
First of all, I didn't really tell many people, but I guess I told some people.
Yeah.
And I know Lee. What's surprising is I didn't understand that is that Lee. That's my wife, right?
Yeah.
She wasn't happy. I couldn't understand it. I would think she would be. She wasn't. Had nothing to do with her. I didn't know her at the time.
Yeah.
and she was like unhappy that I had a girlfriend. In
Well,
Korea.
like, well, what are you gonna do?
Actually, it was Japan.
Japan. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hmm.
She was. I thought that was unusual. Most people would say, "So what? My husband had experience, so
Yeah.
sounds good."
I mean, you're there for
I was
over
in,
2
I was
years?
in Korea for 13 months, 12 months in Japan for 13 months in for Japan, about 9 months.
Wow.
So it was like 13 and 9, 22 months. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it really matured me. I mean, it was really the first time I was away from home. You went to college away from home.
Yeah.
So you really, but
Yeah.
I never went away in the summertime. You probably might have been away. I don't know. You didn't go to summer camp?
A few times, but it was, briefly.
You see, I never did either because my parents really didn't. I guess couldn't afford it at that time. But
It was different.
It would have been a good. Well, when I was older, I was a counselor in a camp for a couple of years, but that was when I was a little older. But anyway, it would have been nice to get away. You mature, you get away from your parents, right?
Yeah.
It's nice to be away from your parents for a
And
while.
also your siblings too. That was nice. But were you and your sister close growing up?
Yeah, but she was 6 years older than I am, so that's she was like my mother,
Yeah.
really like my mother. So it wasn't, because you were so close. You had 3 years each way, right?
Yeah. But I guess your mom probably gave her a lot of tasks to help you, right? They kind of.
I guess, yeah. But the two of them, it was like I grew up with two mothers, which was maybe wasn't that good in certain, because I felt that they treated me like a baby, really. So in a lot of ways, but that's the way they seem to both be. So
Yeah. But what did your dad do? Well, what did he do for a living?
what did he do?
Yeah. What was
Well,
his
he
career?
was always working, and then when he came home, he was busy reading in the newspaper. So I really.
Yeah, but like, what was his career?
He was in the jewelry business,
Mm-hmm.
and he used to make makeup. He was by himself, and he would make up if somebody wanted a ring or basically rings and stuff.
Hmm.
So he would go through the whole thing. He'd get the ring. He'd get the diamond. They would pick the diamond. They would sit there, and then they'd make sure they had it. The whole thing was polished. It was set right. The whole thing. So that's pretty much what he did. So he didn't do badly, but he wasn't, in those days. I mean, if they had the money that, let's say, I have or you have nowadays, they would assume we were if we had that money in those days, we would be considered very rich, right? Because things have really changed.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So,
It's interesting.
at any rate, yeah.